All right, so here is an example on how to find the angle between two vectors. So we have two vectors u and v, and remember that the very first component here, the coefficient of I, that is just the horizontal component. So think of this as an ordered pair as 4 comma -3. And so that point is at the very tip of this arrow here at the bottom here. I'll put a little yellow smudge there. So 4 comma -3 is where that vector terminates, and then it goes from the origin. So every vector has magnitude and direction. So the magnitude is the length of that yellow line that I just drew, and the direction is the angle, okay? The green vector, that is vector v. All right, now what we're looking for in these questions is we're looking for the angle between these two vectors. So we're looking for this angle here, okay? Now in the upper right-hand corner, I have the formula to find the angle between any two vectors. I'm assuming you have done the dot product and finding the magnitude of vectors in the previous assignments. So if you don't know what a dot product is, or you don't know how to find the magnitude, you're going to have to go back and learn that first. Otherwise, this formula will not make any sense to you. Because the numerator here, this is called the dot product. It's a very simple mathematical things. You just multiply the x coordinates plus multiply the y coordinates. And I will show you that in a second. And then this is the magnitude of vector u. This is the magnitude of vector v. You're going to multiply those together. So also, a common mistake is that students do not have their calculator in degree mode. If you have your calculator in radian mode, when you finish this question, you may do it 100% correctly, but when you do cosine inverse of both sides, you're going to get a radian measure, not a degree. And Math Excel wants degrees. So here we go. We're going to find the dot product of the two vectors. So down below here, u dot v. I'm going to take the x coordinates, 4 times 2 is 8, plus I'm going to multiply the y coordinates now. The y coordinates would be -15. So we'd say the dot product is -7, okay? Now a little fun fact about dot product, if the dot product is ever equal to 0, that means that the two vectors are perpendicular to each other. But in vector language, they do not use the word perpendicular. It's a real fancy word called orthogonal, okay? Orthogonal. Orthogonal means 90 degrees. You may have heard of orthopedic shoes, okay? So the root word ortho means right or correct, and 90 degrees is a right angle. So orthogonal is a right angle, 90 degrees. So fact. Dot product is equal to 0. That means the two vectors are orthogonal, okay? So if you notice that one of the choices on the Math Excel assignments is they ask you, or they tell you, or you can choose if it's orthogonal or not. So if you get a 0 here, they're automatically orthogonal. Okay, so in this case, they are not orthogonal, so they're actually going to be an angle between them. So I have -7 is what's going to go in the numerator of these questions. Now I need to find the magnitude of each vector. So magnitude of u. And once again, this is done in a previous Math Excel assignment. You take the x coordinate and you square it. And you're going to add it to the square of the y coordinate. All right, so we get 16 plus 9. And so that gives us 25 under the square root, which is equal to 5. So that number is what is going to go right here, okay? So far we have -7 on top. We have +5 on the bottom. Now I have to find the magnitude of vector v. So I'm going to square the 2 to get 4. I'm going to square the 5 to get 25. And that gives me square root of 29. Okay? So I have my 3 ingredients here. I have the dot product, which goes in the numerator. I have the magnitude of vector v, vector u, and I have the magnitude of vector v. So all I need is 3 numbers, and I need a graphing calculator or a scientific calculator to finish this thing off. So here we go. Cosine, got -7 on top. We have 5 times square root of 29 on the bottom. Now, when I multiply this here and divide it into -7, I get about -0.29. Okay. Cosine inverse, and then we're going to take the cosine inverse of both sides to solve for the angle, because we're ultimately looking for the angle. So cosine inverse, once again, make sure your calculator is in degree mode, and verify with your calculator right now that you get, let's see, about 105 degrees. Okay, and of course pay attention to the directions. If it says round to the nearest degree or 1/10 of a degree, you're going to round accordingly. But this right here is going to be an ugly decimal. You may not want to round in the middle of the question. Don't round to the very end till you actually divide it into -7. So that means 105 degrees is this angle right here. And according to my picture, that looks believable. All right, it looks, according to my picture, it looks about between 90 and 110. Well, we got 105. So that is a believable answer. And there we go.